Hey guys,
I'm Jerry.
I'm Sierra.
We're ladies.
And we tangent. What's up, everyone? Hello. You look like Thanksgiving. I do. I look like you look like my nails.
I look like a turkey.
You do.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've been with you for like an hour and a half now. I have not noticed.
I know.
And now I was just like,
when
hey.
Sierra got here, I was like, you're being weird. I'm gonna paint my nails while you
So
try
you
and get out of this.
Get a fucking drink in you or something.
Yeah.
I'm having a real weird day where I felt fine, but then like towards the end of it, I started like, zoning out and just having a lot of thoughts in my head. I don't know if it's anxiety, if it's ADHD, if it's a little mixture of both.
Part of me wonders if you're experiencing some burnout.
Oh, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was just like,
which we've not really talked about on the
weird.
podcast, but I know that like that's something that we have approached at some point and then said that we would talk about, and then we just never have, like several other things. But hey, we're gonna be here for a while, so eventually we'll get to it.
Get fucking used to us.
Yeah.
That's why it was so funny. Oh, by the way, the episode we're gonna do today, we let Patreon decide.
Yes.
But it was funny because they were like, "Wait, I want all of these," and I was like, "Oh, they're all coming eventually."
Yeah.
Like,
it's just which one do you want this week?
Yeah, this is just a list of things that we got on the. We got a little list of just like, pick them out, pick them out, pick them out. You remember when I told you I was being weird?
And if you're wondering, the level of stability over here on this couch is, No, I didn't. Sierra let me
Jerry cut my bangs.
Cut her bangs. I finally got tired of cutting my own hair. I've moved on to other people's hair.
And I like it.
I think they look great.
I
Shane,
think they look
Daddy
good.
Shane, how did they look? He gave a thumbs up.
That's what I think.
We love a silent gesture on a
what
podcast.
Does this mean? I was like, what does this mean about me that I'm letting you do this right now? And she was like, I was not nervous. I felt nothing when she was doing it. I was like, I don't care if you give me the shortest little baby bangs you've ever seen. At this point, it's like,
I think
what am I going to do? Shave my head? Maybe. Might fuck around and do it.
She goes, I'm just looking for a reason.
Like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, you're just trying to feel something.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's probably a problem, but
yeah. For another day.
For another person.
Another day, another time.
Also, I've got like a messy bun that fell out and it's a pony situation that I'm just like, I came here with my hair down and cute and curled.
And I was like, let me fuck it up.
Well, no, because I said, I have so many sensory issues right now that I'm like, I'm feeling this on my neck and it feels like it's suffocating me. So let's get it off. And also, I need you to fuck on my back. She's like,
I think I want I want my bangs cut, and I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah, I was like,
I never met a bang I didn't want to cut.
I was like, I feel like I want my hair up, but my bangs need something done. And she was just like, she already has the scissors.
hold my beer. Hold my iced latte.
I was gonna say you weren't drinking, and I would have let you even if you were. That's how I know that I'm unstable.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, when my best decisions are made, honestly.
Yeah.
That's how I have 2 kids. I'm just kidding. This is why I have most of my tattoos. So.
I have decided on a tattoo. I didn't tell you this. I have 2 tattoos that I want to get.
Are we going together?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. But I have the outline I want to do of Mosby.
Oh, love it.
And then, so my friend Megan has always told me that Forrest looks like a little cherub.
Yeah.
And I was like, he does. I had no fucking clue what a cherub was.
You did?
I was just like,
I
just thought it was like a little
arrows.
Baby. Yeah. I get it. I know what it is now. Because I watch a lot of Ink Master. Shane and I's show is Ink Master. Okay.
That's a really fun show.
It's so fun.
Honestly, I'd love to get back to watching that. Thank you for the recommendation.
Absolutely.
I'd have to make that me and Corey's show.
Shane, we are not allowed to watch it without each other.
We watch like knives getting made and shit. And it's like cool, forged in fire.
That.
It's like interesting, but at the same time, after about one episode, I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it get sliced and diced. I'm over it. And then Corey will be like, I think I want to start making knives.
Oh my God, that's always what it is.
We can't watch this anymore.
Yeah, Shane and I really enjoy it, and we really like the judges, but we also like it's almost like in a mocking way. Like we don't take it serious, although it is very serious stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see them put these tattoos on people and I'm like, that's forever.
Yeah.
That's forever ever. And that tiger looks like a lizard.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened here, bud?
You know, there was a whole other spinoff where one of the people from that show then opened a shop to just correct like those tattoos. And they were so good at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was really good.
Anyway, why was I talking about that? Oh, they did a challenge where they had to do cherubs. And the challenge was like focusing on anatomy, and they're like, it is so easy to fuck up a cherub.
Baby.
Yeah. So like it is going to be very, very obvious if you don't do this correctly. And so they were showing sketches, and I'm like, that looks like my kid. Like all those babies look like my baby.
Yes.
And so then I just was perusing cherub Pinterest as one does. And I found this one picture of like 3 cherubs interacting with each other. And I was like, oh, I need to do that for my boys.
Yeah, I love that.
And for those of you who are like, you have 2 kids. We have a third, and he just doesn't live with us. He lives in the sky.
Yes.
Or in
Read
the
a
medical
fucking
bin.
book.
Sorry, dark. His soul's in the sky.
Yeah, and in bees. He comes and hangs out with us sometimes.
And the moon.
Oh, he's in the moon now.
Well, whenever I heard his name in my head, I was looking at the moon.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was huge. Biggest moon I'd ever seen. I was like, wow, that's a big moon.
So that's why, baby.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
I can't wait
To
see it. Where are you going to get it at?
inside on my bicep.
Oh, that's going to fucking hurt.
But my first tattoo is on my ribs.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Your first tattoo is not as big as the one you're wanting to get, I don't think.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
How big is it?
It's like this big.
No.
That's how big I want my cherubs.
Oh, okay. 3 of them?
3 of them. They're going to be dainty little bitches. I need to find someone who's like really good with like fine line.
Got it.
Putting as much detail as they can in a small area.
Got it.
Which I know that there's going to be people who are like, that's not how it's fucking done. It's not going to stay. It's not going to this. That's what I want. Okay. I wanted a really little bee on my side, and the guy talked me out of it, and now it's like a very big bee.
That's true.
And big bee, coffee. I'm drinking
my
some.
God.
Anyway.
They have great Braggles.
I've never been.
Oh, it's fucking delish.
One time I lied. I went one time and I tried to order. When I'm looking at menus sometimes, especially if I've never been there before in a drive-thru, I get stressed the fuck out.
Yeah,
this happened to me at Wendy's the other day.
And then I want to be like, when they're like, hi, how? I'm like, don't fucking talk to me.
I'm trying to read.
Give me a fucking second.
I'm ordering in numbers, but also sandwiches, but also like, I don't know if you have small, medium, large, if I'm supposed to tell you which one I want.
I don't have to ask for it to be off. Can you tell me the ingredients?
It's overwhelming. But normally if I go to Wendy's, sorry, this is a derail from Big B, but normally when I go to Wendy's, I'm like, I want the 4 for $4.
Oh, delicious.
And I want a junior bacon minus tomato.
I get that
and
every
then
time.
I want, the rest. And so I say, can I have a 4 for $4 with a junior bacon? And she's like, it comes with a hamburger. And I was like, oh, well then
when'd you fucking change that?
Can I substitute oh no, I said can I have a crispy chicken? And she goes, it comes with a cheeseburger. And I was like, oh, can I have a junior bacon minus tomato? And she goes, it comes with a cheeseburger. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I guess that's what I'll have that then. Even
you
though
just reminded me of a story.
Then they changed it because there's the biggie bag, 5 for $5, and there you can get.
They shouldn't be rude. I'm sorry I don't go to Wendy's every day, so I don't know when you change things.
But I panicked and I was like, sure, just literally put anything in my bag. I'll eat it. I'm so sorry.
At this point, I don't give a fuck. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Anyway, this happened to me at Big B.
Okay.
And I'm trying to read this menu because it's a new coffee place in town, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Sure.
And I'm hungry.
Yes.
And I look and I'm like, I'll have a banana nut muffin. And she goes, we don't have those. I just saw banana and muffins, and I just assumed they put them together.
And they weren't.
I ended up just ordering a banana. So they handed me my coffee and a banana.
Oh, that's really funny. I'm glad I know they have bananas now, because sometimes I'm just in the mood for bananas.
Aren't we all?
So when I called the orthodontist, you reminded me of this because my baby was just being a baby, and I was also having a day like today where like my brain was not working.
Yeah.
I was having like heavy brain fog, and my dogs were outside, so they were barking, and the phone started ringing. I already have terrible fucking anxiety about calling to make appointments. So I'm like, it's ringing for a really long time. So at this point, I'm like, cool, they're not going to answer. And then all of a sudden she's like, hello, blah, blah, blah's office. And I was like, hi, I completely, my script went out the fucking window. I couldn't remember what I wanted to ask. So I was like, I was just wondering if you're accepting new clients. And she goes, well, we're an orthodontist office. So we see patients.
Oh no.
And I went. Now, normally I would just hang up. Because I would
Rightfully
be
so.
so fucking mortified. But I was like, you know what? I'm standing up for myself, you lady. And I go, oh, I apologize. I have a 1-year-old in front of me. And also sometimes I get words messed up. My bad. And she goes, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Some people think we're a dentist's office and they call wanting to make a dental appointment. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew we were an orthodontist.
The dentist-y clients?
Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Don't trip on your back pedal there.
For the rest of the time, she was like the nicest lady. And I was like, I'm glad I kind of gave her some sass back. Because then she was super fucking nice to me. But there was another part that was kind of funny because I said, oh, here's my name. And she was like, oh, did you see the person that I saw when I got my braces? And I said, yes, I do. And she said, oh, we have all his old clients. You actually get a discount if you've had braces with him. I was like, fucking, there must be so many people that their teeth got fucked up after having braces that they're like, yeah.
Did we go to the same person?
Yep.
Okay.
So there was only like one around our area. So she's like, let me see, what's your name? I told her, and she's like, boop, boop, boop. Oh, yep, here you are. And she goes, oh, how lucky. Most people at your age are married, so it's hard to find their name. Because their name changes. And I was like, she's like, no, not that. And I was like, I'm engaged. It's okay. And she was like, yeah. Oh,
congratulations.
It was so funny because she was just like,
oh my God.
I actually at that point felt bad for her because I was like, it's okay. I'm not going to yell at you anymore. And I didn't even yell.
Jesus, she probably felt like such a dick.
I know. But it was funny because I was like, yeah, I bet that is hard for them. No,
Yay
lucky me.
Oh my God. Can I tell you about my therapy session?
Please.
Okay. That was a really loud swallow. I'm sorry, future me. So last time I went to therapy, I basically told Kay that I'm doing phenomenal, and she cured me, essentially. I'm like, I think I'm great. I don't have any anxiety. I'm so proud of myself.
I swear that's what always happens, like right mid-therapy, like I know, first month that you're in therapy, you're like, I'm cured. And it's like, just wait.
Yeah.
But go on.
So that was the appointment. I think I went to that appointment right after I made. It was either right after I made my procedure appointment or right after I decided to do it.
Right.
So I was just like fucking riding that high.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I went again, and she told me the last time, she's like, I want to do one more EMDR session with you, just like to be sure.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, whatever, Kay, there's nothing to find, but sure.
Fix.
And I sit in there and fucking, after 30 minutes of just like catching her up on the shit that is my life.
Yeah.
She's like, so do you want to do some EMDR? And I'm like, sure. We can do that. And what I wanted to focus on was my body.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to focus on, I want to make sure that doing this procedure is not me doing it because I dislike myself or my body. It's because I love myself and my body, and I just want to make this change so that I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
But I know that I have a lot of negative self-talk surrounding different parts of my body, my features, my coloring, my size. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I know that comes from a really like deep-seated childhood type
Right.
situation. That is lifelong. Not only like from people in my life, but also like in the media. I can remember standing in the grocery line.
Jesus Christ. 90s and early 2000s was
The
rough.
pictures that they used to have on magazines
Rough.
of celebrities.
Who they were calling fat?
Yes.
Oh my
with
fucking
just
God.
normal bodies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Normal, petite, skinny bodies.
Yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, oh.
Yeah, but they would like zoom in on cellulite.
Like their uterus.
Yeah.
The pouch that is their organ.
Or like the back of their leg. And I'm like, I remember sitting.
She's squatting down. There's going to be dimples there because that's how skin works.
Yes. Yes.
fuck?
But I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to unlearn a lot of negativity. And I swear, guys, not all of this is going to be like body focused. I'm very aware that us speaking so much about bodies is probably like making some people uncomfortable. Anyway, this is just what my therapy was on. So she's like, okay, picture whatever you want to picture in regards to your body and what you want to work through. So I get the image in my head. And you remember when I told you about my first session and how it felt like I was locked in place, like my body went really, really stiff and I felt like I was being crushed and suffocated? Well, this time, this was so fucking weird. I'm sitting there and my stomach immediately starts going in. Like sucking in.
Whoa.
To the point where I almost thought I was hallucinating because I'm like, there's no way that my stomach can go that far back.
Yeah.
But it was the second my mind kind of was tracking, I started sucking in and getting smaller. And then I was finding it really hard to breathe because my fucking stomach was like collapsed in on itself. And I heard in my head, do you feel that? You can't breathe. There's no room for you to breathe. Let it go. And I only knew I wasn't hallucinating the sucking it in because out of my peripheral vision, I saw my shirt come back out. And I'm like, okay, so I was sucking it in. And then I heard me telling myself to like take a really big breath and see how much room I had, and that it was totally okay. And then I heard I won't go into detail about some of the things that were said because it is specifically regards negative things that were said to me, but it was like, it wasn't okay that this happened. It wasn't okay that this person said this. It wasn't okay that this person portrayed food in this way.
Right.
And then my stomach growled and I heard, do you hear that? That means that you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You need to listen to your body and feed it when it's hungry. Drink your water.
Yeah.
After this session, why don't we go to Starbucks? Let's treat us to some Starbucks.
Yeah.
And like this whole time I'm sitting there just like, tracking her hand back and forth. And yeah, it was like a really empowering thing.
Wow.
To
Owen Wilson Wild right there. Sorry.
it was like you Owen Wilson Wild. I heard myself telling myself, take up space. Stop trying to shrink yourself. Stop trying to make yourself smaller. Take up space.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then I went to Starbucks and there was such a long line and I was like, I'm going home.
Oh my God. That's Big B.
Yeah.
You got to try it.
Yeah. Well, I had my Nespresso order came in and I ordered chocolates from them. So I got the chocolates out of there and I made myself a coffee.
There you go. Perfect. Also, I wanted to say this because when I said it, I was like, I don't want to say when we were talking about the early 2000s that they were like, this person's fat. The way that it wasn't just like they're fat, it was like that and that's a bad thing kind of thing. So I wanted to specify that I wasn't, that wasn't me saying it that way. That's how the magazine was portraying it.
They would use certain terms as a negative thing when like there's nothing wrong with being fat.
No.
Fat is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thin is beautiful. They're just words.
Bodies. And their bodies. It's all bodies are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to specify that before we got messages because I know sometimes I say things and I don't mean them and then I don't correct it. And then people are like, hey.
Well, and I think we're still learning a lot as well. Because I know there was huge backlash for Taylor Swift when she put out her music video, and there was a part for Anti-Hero, I think.
Yeah.
When she stood on the scale and it came up fat.
Yeah.
And I know that she probably didn't put a specific number because the number wasn't what it was. It
Right.
didn't, because in her head, I'm assuming that fat just meant
bad, because
Yes.
that's what we were.
yes.
It was literally portrayed that way to all of us for our entire adolescence.
But I was so happy, first of all, at how quickly she took that part out of the video.
Yeah.
But I was so happy that so many people held her accountable and were like, hey, you saying that the body that I exist in is your worst nightmare
Yeah.
is hurtful.
Right.
And the idea that this is a negative thing and this is something that you don't want is hurtful. And I
Yeah.
know that there were people like trying to explain what she meant by it. But the thing is, if you have to do that many backflips
Yeah.
to get to a point, not very many people are going to do that work.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to remember that just the average person who's going to consume that is not going to try and dig deeper and understand the real meaning behind it. It's just going to validate their already negative perception of something that should have never been labeled negative in the first place.
Agreed. 100%.
Anyway.
Well, backpacking on that before we
Yeah.
get into the topic, if we have time. Sorry if the camera cuts out. I'll try to make it quick. But I just wanted to, this is just a little hooray for a good thing that's happening. And I wasn't going to talk about it because it was like, do I talk about it because it's a body thing? That's what I felt at first.
Yep.
But it's completely not that. So when I say this, I don't want people to like, whatever. I invested in myself. And you know this. I got a personal trainer.
Yep.
And when I went into getting a personal trainer, I was literally just like, I want to be able to go to the gym and work out and get stronger. I want to feel better about myself. But I have so much fucking anxiety around it that I don't know where to start. I don't know like what foods to eat. And it wasn't even really about losing weight. It was more so like, I want to feel better and I want to feel stronger. And so going into it, that was like my focus, but there was a small part of me that was like, oh my God, am I going to be restricted on stuff? Okay, this is the last week before I start with her. I'm going to have to like get in the foods that I want to eat now and blah, blah, blah. And I just want to give a little shout out because it is fucking changing my life when it comes to how I view food. And like, I had no idea how unhealthy my relationship with food was. Like I knew it was kind of there because I would not eat until I felt like I was going to pass out. And then, and a lot of that wasn't even like a conscious decision. It was because of ADHD or it was because of things like it would be 5 o'clock before I'd realize, oh my God, I haven't eaten yet today. And I would only know that because I would stand up and get dizzy. And then I would binge all night because, again, I'm sorry if I'm triggering anybody, but I just want to say that this is the things that I'm learning. I would binge all night and then I would feel fucking terrible. And also, it's not good to eat that much before you go to sleep. So then I'd go to sleep.
It
and
messes with your sleep schedule.
Fucked. Oh my God. And I'd have like nightmares, or I would have like, I guess there's something in the like glucose or something that can make your heart race. And then you have like, it's like was giving me panic attacks. Basically, as I'm laying in bed, my heart was racing. I was sweating. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. Anyways. The first thing that she did was basically like, hey, I want to set a timer. And like when that timer goes off every 2 hours or so, I want you to just check in with your body. How am I feeling? Am I hungry? Could I eat? And if so, just get a snack. And it wasn't like telling me what to eat. It was just like, go eat something. And so we did that for a little bit. And now it's like, I'm just realizing how to listen to my body. So that's what it kind of reminded me of that. Is like, it's amazing now how much better I feel when I'm eating when I'm hungry, stopping when I'm full, eating a balanced meal, like making sure that I have veggies and when I can. But like even if I don't, just trying to like get a little bit of some different things so I'm not just eating noodles for every fucking meal. It's just like, I don't know. I don't feel restricted at all. And also the one conversation we had, I was saying something and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't eat that because it's bad. And she was like, why do you think it's bad? Can we unpack that a little bit? And I was like, oh, I didn't know we were having a therapy
This
session.
is doubling as therapy.
But it was amazing. Her number one thing is like, we don't label foods good or bad. Like food is food. It fuels your body. But like, here's a list of foods we should try to eat more of. Here's some we should try to eat like less of, and then whatever. And it was so like, I don't know. I just wanted to shout that out because it's fucking been amazing.
Well, and I also think that like I thought about this when you were talking about how you would forget to eat sometimes until 5 o'clock. You also were in a stage of life where like you were in survival mode.
Yeah.
And so you were working constantly.
Yeah.
You had a toddler, a child to take care of.
I was so busy I wasn't even thinking about getting food.
Yeah.
And then when
financially, like as well, it's not like you had access to a plethora of food and you were trying to make sure, you know, your child was taken care of and your lights weren't getting shut off. And so like I did want to say that you're in a place now where you have the means to do that. And sometimes I feel weird sharing about therapy or sharing about stuff that I've purchased for myself. Like the Dyson changed my fucking life. I love the Dyson. It is outrageously expensive. But things like therapy, which I know some people can't afford, or a personal trainer who some people can't afford, I think it's important to kind of share some of the at least little nuggets of advice that they've given for anyone who has felt the same kind of insecurities that we have felt going into it.
Yeah. And I shared her story on my story the other day because she was basically saying the same thing. Like, here's my tips, eat when you're hungry, stop. And like, you would think like, yeah, that's like, everybody knows that. But like, I literally didn't. It was not on my priority list. And it was like, her motto with me, which I love, is like, some is better than nothing, or a little is better than nothing. And it's like, I don't have to do it all. In my mind, it was like, it's all or nothing. If you're not going to do it all, don't do it at all. Like, don't do anything.
I heard someone explain it that they overthought themselves into inaction.
That was me.
So it was like, I
me.
am so overwhelmed by the idea of attempting to learn what foods are going to work for me or how to meal prep or what activity. They did nothing.
That is me everywhere in every aspect of my life. It's why I shy away from like hardcore going into work and stuff like that. It's like, if I'm going to fuck it up, I'd rather just stay away and not do anything. I'm just going to, you got this, whatever. Yeah. That's how I am with fucking house stuff, changing anything in my house. My house has looked the same since I moved into it because I'm like, I don't want to fuck that up. That looks fine how it is. I'm just going to go away and not do anything. It's like, I get overwhelmed with having to make choices or decisions or like anything like that to where I just freeze. And I am frozen all the time. And it was like that with food. So I would wait until my body was screaming to be fed before I went and got food. And then by that point, you're filling yourself with foods that are filling. Right. So you're not getting like proteins and stuff. I was wanting carbs. I was wanting stuff that was going to fill me up. And then it made me feel like shit.
Or that was easily accessible because you didn't really feel like making it.
Exactly. Yeah. And even now she like works with me with like, what can we get you for breakfast? It's going to be easy because I know that you're not going to want to make something in the morning. Or let's talk about when we can meal prep so you can pop some eggs or whatever in the microwave. Because it's like, how can I do this in a way that I'm going to actually do it? Because I know that those are my meals that I want to skip because I don't want to get up and make them. And that makes me sound lazy, but I'm saying it because I know there's people probably listening who feel the same. And
it's not lazy. It's just that doesn't work for you.
No, it's not. My brain will it like freezes. And my brain is like, we'll just, you know what? Just don't worry about food. You don't need it. And then I'm like, you're probably right. Until my body is screaming at me. But I am just trying to really listen to my body. I think that's the number one thing I can tell people. And if you're somebody who everything that I just said resonates with you, highly recommend setting a timer.
Yeah.
And like just check in with your body. It doesn't mean you have to eat when that goes off.
It doesn't have to mean you
just
have to
check
do
in
anything.
and be like, am I hungry right now? I could eat and then go off that.
Yeah.
And it was as simple as like getting some of those chewy granola bars and having those for a little like, okay, I'll just have this now because I'm whatever.
Yeah. Because I could.
Because I could eat.
Because I could.
I should.
Eat. Yeah. Okay.
Shall we?
Shall we
let's
get into the topic of the day, which was voted on
by the Patreon. Oh my God. What part of you was that? I thought it was your back, and then I was like, is it her hip?
No, it was my ankle. Sometimes I have to do this with my ankle, and it pops right there. Oh, derailing one more time before we get to weaponized incompetence. Have we said that that's what it is? Oh, you guys know because it's the title.
Spoiler alert.
But I have been having some serious problems with my knee, and I've talked about it before where I'll go to stand and I can't walk because
Yeah.
my knee is in so much pain, and it's still happening. It's happening like really frequently. The other day, Ollie was in the bathroom and he was like, I gotta pee. I need your help. And so I was sitting at the table eating dinner and I got up to run to him and my leg wouldn't extend. And so I was like freaking hobbling to him.
That used to happen with my hip. You remember that?
I felt like I was 75 years old. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to go to the doctor after my procedure.
I was going to say, they have me I went to physical therapy for my hip for a little bit, and I still do some stretches from that. And I'm telling you, that has made like a world of a difference. So they might just give you some stretches you can do at home instead of having to go a bunch. I don't know what's wrong with it.
I know.
But you should definitely
I think I need it replaced.
Well, if you do, Corey can hook you up with his work people because that's literally what they do.
Could you imagine? I just have a bionic knee.
Total knee replacement. He's in them all the time. That's what he sits in on surgeries for total knee replacements all the time.
You keep saying total knee like it's a infomercial. So it's
total knee. That's what he says. That's how he says it. So I'm always like, total knee.
Anyway, okay.
Do you know what's funny? Yes. Is when people vote on the Patreon, it's like gives us the percentages, but then you can see the comments, and people were like, "I want something lighthearted." Well, sorry.
Yeah,
we'll give you one next week, but this will be kind of lighthearted, I think. But it's also educational because that's what friends do.
I talked about this with Shane at dinner because, I said I know people like the scandals.
Yeah.
But I think the reason we get so excited for scandals or hoe stories or ghost stories or whatever is because we don't do them every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If we started doing them too much, it would be.
Yeah. I think if we did them every week, if we were only doing stories or Am I the Assholes, just like, because that's not what we started out as.
Yeah.
If we started out as like, this is what our shtick is.
Yeah.
Okay. You come here because you expect that. But I would feel like if we did that every single week, it would almost kind of mirror when you're friends with someone, but then you kind of drift apart. And so when you see each other, it's only very surface level, nothing like deep. And I don't want to do that to you guys. I want to always get deep with you guys.
Yeah, I do too. And what was funny was, so the comments, some of them were like, I don't even know what that weaponized thing is. And I was like, well, that's why we do these.
Yeah.
That's actually, you're highlighting exactly why we pick these ones as topics to potentially talk about, because when I heard about it for the first time, I'm like, what is that? And I just went for my post-op, and I was talking to one of the nurses there, and she was asking me about the podcast, and I said that was the topic for this week, and she's like, what is that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know it's a thing that we all hear about, and I think everybody knows what that means, but so many don't. Right. So I'm excited to talk about it.
And we've done this with gaslighting and trauma bonding, and I know that we did it with emotional intelligence as well, because someone was using emotional intelligence, I think on The Bachelor, maybe. It was some kind of dating show. And they were using it constantly, and people were like, what is this? But now, if we never pause and actually look at what this is and how it applies to our life or how it shows up in our life, oh God, I think we can they've just become buzzwords, like meaningless buzzwords. Right. And they can then be actual weaponized against people.
I was going to say, well,
fuck, am I that?
People have recently, I've seen like arguments online, and the word gaslighting is being used so much where it doesn't belong. No, and I'm like, same with narcissism. Narcissism. I'm like, this is why it's important to maybe go into these things, because I do want people to, I feel like somebody sees it being used in one way and they're like, that's exactly what it is. And then it's like, not necessarily. Okay, so
and we're not authorities on anything. We don't know dick about shit.
That's what I wanted to say. This is, I found one fucking article and I really liked it, and that's just what we're gonna use.
Yep.
Because guess what? This is kind of a new phrase, not really a new thing, but definitely a newer phrase. So like there wasn't like a lot of Psychology Today or anything like that. Like they were all basically like, this is mindbodygreen.com. Okay, that's what I'm using. It's 7 signs of weaponized incompetence in relationships and how to deal with it.
Got it.
But I will say before we start, whenever I like found out I was pregnant, obviously you guys know I'm a slut for fucking Facebook groups. So I got into some, and when some of these people, by the way, we are going to mostly talk about heterosexual relationships. And a lot of times, because statistically this happens the most in cis heterosexual relationships with cis men.
Yes.
That's just statistics. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We know this is not an all encompassing thing, and we know it comes in all shapes and blah, blah, blah. But the people in my group that were talking about the men that they were with and some of the shit, I was just like, how the fuck are you with these people? There were people recently, our babies are over a year old, that were like, my husband's never changed a diaper. Never changed a diaper. And people were like, why? And they're like, he gets really grossed out by it. Well, yeah.
You wipe your own ass, don't you?
It's shit and pee. It's really fucking gross, but you do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just like, that to me also fueled why I wanted to do this one, because what the fuck?
Now, and I know with stuff like that, with Sierra saying like poop and pee or whatever, and it's really fucking gross and they don't want to be around it. Assume that we make exceptions for people who like have like diagnosed physical like reactions.
Please make that assumption.
Yes.
And because when we talk about this, we're going to talk about people who weaponized. Weaponized is the main part here,
yes.
Not the incompetence part, the weaponized part, because the men that were doing that, I highly doubt all of them had a medical or whatever reason that was making them not able to.
Absolutely impossible for them to do it.
I'll tell you, with Corey, he fucking changed. I didn't change a diaper till we got inside our house. In the hospital, he changed every fucking diaper.
Yeah.
They were like, the baby needs a diaper change. And I was like, you got this again? Because I just did all the fucking work.
Yeah.
So
I just made her organs.
So
you can clean them up.
And I pushed them out of me.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what it is. Weaponized incompetence is a behavior pattern where one partner pretends to be bad. That's the part that is important. So if you think we're talking about something that we're not, that's the highlight.
Yes.
Pretends to be bad at simple tasks to get out of shared responsibilities. It can look like not being able to step up with childcare appointments because they say they can't remember the name of the doctor or like how to do it. Not giving the animals a bath because they don't know how to groom them afterwards, or not helping out with party planning because they don't think they're great at details. Now, I kind of do this sometimes, but only with people who I know like doing those things.
Yeah.
So like with my mother-in-law, she fucking loves planning shit. Like that is her fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so with my daughter's first birthday party, I was like, Susan, you fucking got this, because you know I hate this and I'm going to fuck it up. I don't want to do it. That was basically what it is. Not that I can't. I was like, I don't want to do this.
If you want it to be a party, you're going to have to do it.
Yes. And she was like, I got it.
Done.
And I'm like, great. So I think in that sense, if it's a communicated thing that's like, I don't want to do this. Also with housework.
Right.
I don't fucking want to do the outside of the house. Mowing, yard work, anything. I fucking hate doing that.
Right.
Corey doesn't like to do laundry. So we have
that's
those
a transactional type thing. Okay.
Right.
I'll do this, you do that.
Yes. So those are again different, and we'll talk more about signs.
Well,
but
I'll give you an example.
Please.
So my father-in-law constantly loves to tell this story, and which is why I'm going to tell it on here, because he's told it to so many people. He said that he used to go grocery shopping or clothes shopping and purposely buy either the wrong thing or incredibly expensive things.
Yep.
So that he would not be asked to go back out and do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is textbook.
That is weaponizing
incompetence.
That is shocking that he feels like that's something to brag about.
That's a funny thing. Yeah, I know.
Yikes.
I know.
But that's the thing. And a lot of times people have heard about this because they have no shame in saying it. Like I have heard multiple people say, oh yeah, I don't like doing that. So I can't remember. Somebody said, oh, I put all the cotton t-shirts on hot water so they all shrank. Like it was it was a friend of an ex.
Yeah.
Who was just like telling the guys that like, do this and then you won't have to do laundry. And I was like, ew. And also you just ruined fucking clothes. You could just be like, hey,
it's a very expensive.
I don't like doing the laundry. Is there a chore I can do that you don't want to do?
Yeah.
Again.
How can I help in a different way?
Yes. So the reason it is weaponized is because the partner places the responsibility back onto the other partner to complete the task, and it's intended for that to be the way that it is for the foreseeable future.
For the
Go
longest time, whenever Shane and I got together, he was like, "Hey, I don't fold laundry."
Yeah.
I don't really know how exactly. He's like, I could fold a towel like a motherfucker, but when it comes to shirts, I fold them in a very specific way, and he's someone who if something has to be folded in half, and if it's not exactly meticulously in half, it drives him nuts, and he has to like do it over and over and over again, and it just ends up frustrating him. And so I said, "Hey, I'm gonna do this.
Yep.
Don't worry about it." But when it got to a point where I had 2 jobs, and both kids, and the housework, I was like, I need help.
Yeah.
I need you to do something. And so that's when he started doing the dishes at night before he went to bed, and he started doing the laundry. And he's like, if I'm doing the laundry, I need to find a way to do it my way.
Yeah.
And so he ordered one of those shirt folder things that they have at like stores.
Amazing.
To help him like make sure it was exactly how it was supposed to be. And even though it was not how I wanted it done or how I would do it, he did it.
Yeah.
He learned how because it got to a point where I couldn't do it by myself anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So here's how licensed clinical psychologist Holly Schiff defines the concept.
Okay.
Quote, weaponized incompetence is when your partner attempts to avoid doing unpleasant tasks by pretending not to be able to do them, doing them poorly, or just being incompetent. This forces you to have to do it by yourself and pick up the slack. Over time, this will create a lot of additional mental baggage and workload, which will cause relationship tension, friction, and stress. Here's a fun fucking little facty. In a 2016 study, researchers studied 6,300 different sex couples and noted that couples' division of labor, paid and unpaid, was more highly associated with the risk of divorce than any other economic factor.
Wow.
Right?
That is fascinating.
So
I could understand why, though, because I think when someone starts feeling all kinds of, all right, let me see if I can explain this in a way that ties in a story from a long time ago.
Okay. Get the teacher in you out.
Yes. Shane and I were driving to Canton one time, and we were discussing him leaving work, him stopping working at his traditional accounting job and coming home full time. And I told him that when he was behind the desk, parts of him that I loved were like dying.
Yeah.
And I think
that was me at serving.
Right. And I think that resentment and anger and being unfulfilled, bitter, all of those like negative things are scars on you, are the parts of you that are dying essentially when you are not doing things that feed your soul.
Yeah.
And so I think if it is so unbalanced that one person is not able to have the time to care for themselves, either mentally, emotionally, physically, however that may be, invest in their own interests and hobbies, feed their soul, so to say, they can start getting those scars and those parts of them start dying out, and who are they going to blame?
Yeah.
Like for us, we could blame Shane's job.
Yeah.
But if it's happening in the household, who are you going to blame?
Yeah.
Your partner.
Ghostbusters. No,
I thought it as well.
Honestly, and the thing is, what you're saying when you're weaponizing incompetence in a way that's like, well, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm going to make my partner take the workload, is I don't respect your time or care that you have so much more work to do than me.
Right.
And like over time, fuck yeah, I'm going to leave somebody if that's the way that it's.
Yeah.
You don't respect me or my time enough to like give me a break.
Right.
When we share the household, we share the children, we share the,
right.
And again, I'm not speaking about me and Corey because he's gotten a lot better, but I will tell you, when him and I got together, I had a thought that like, is this what is happening with us? I want to make this distinction as well, in case you're thinking like, oh, is this my partner? It could be, it could not be, because with Corey, he was the first, like when he moved in with me, he had been with his parents that forever.
I was going to bring this up.
So this was his first time living with, and so he literally was learning how to be an adult basically, and learning how to have a household and all of these things. And so it has taken time. Has it been a strain at points? Yes. But as long as we had communication, as long as we were able, if I was able to be like, hey, I can't keep doing this. And for a long time, especially when it came to the kids, because I had already been a mom for so long, much longer than he had been a dad, I was just taking it on because I was so used to doing it. So it also was on me to be like, hey, I need help too, because he just assumed I had it.
Right.
And like, it wasn't even like, yeah, it wasn't even like, oh, he like thought I wanted to do it at points.
Well, and we've said before that you can't expect someone to be a mind reader. You do need to communicate. Now, if you have communicated and someone is completely ignoring it or, disregarding it, then like, yeah, take a look at that. But one thing that used to bother me terribly is when things were said like, I shouldn't have to ask, you should just know.
Oh, and I hate that.
That's not true.
No, that can't, no.
Ever.
That can't be true.
So that's actually super problematic.
Yeah. Communicate with your partner and everyone else in your life.
But what I was going to tell you is something that Shane and I have talked about before. It kind of goes, I think, in tandem with weaponized incompetence. It kind of goes along with what you were talking about with Corey. It's called learned helplessness.
Yeah.
So learned helplessness is a state that occurs after a person has experienced a stressful situation repeatedly. They come to believe that they are unable to control or change the situation, so they do not try, even when opportunities for change become available. So in my head, if Corey is with his parents and they are constantly cooking for him or doing his laundry or cleaning for him, he could, I'm assuming here, I don't know this for a fact, he could believe this is just something that I'm either not supposed to do or I'm not good at.
Yes.
And so why would I do it?
Why would I try? Because I'm not going to be good at
What's the point?
Well, and he's even said this. I don't want to talk for it, but he's even talked about like, I wish I would have learned. Like, he's big on watching YouTube videos right now to try to like learn how to fix things and shit. Yeah. Because it's stuff he doesn't know. And he's like, it was frustrating because I would try with my dad, but his dad like didn't have the patience.
Yes.
So it would be like he would be trying to teach him and then be like, just go inside. I got it. I can figure it out. You know what I mean?
Well, and
my parents did the same thing.
That's a huge trend, I think, from
they did
the generation before us.
To me. So when I got my house, I felt so terrible for Noah's dad because he was like 7 years older than me, 8 years older than me. And he had obviously lived on his own before. And again, I was moving right in with him from living at home. And I'm like, I don't know how to fucking do shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything. And it wasn't his job to teach me.
Yeah.
But like at that point, now the internet's a little bit better and it was good back then, but that was still like fucking 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just have to Google everything. And that was a fucking chore, but I had to do it because there was nobody to teach me.
Yeah, and it can feel really embarrassing and shameful to admit. And I think that's the difference between weaponized incompetence and learned helplessness is I think learned helplessness comes with like shame and embarrassment where weaponized incompetence,
you're proud of it, like the fucking story you just told.
is intentional, is avoidant, is like, I just don't want to.
I don't want to, and you can for me.
And there's nothing wrong with not doing things because you don't want to do them.
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to get angry or you're going to get upset if your needs aren't being met or the expectations you have for the other person that they're not meeting them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you don't want to do the laundry, then don't get fucking mad when the laundry starts piling up at your fucking house. Like, that's not their job to take care of. That's fine that you don't feel like doing it. But you better be spraying some Febreze on that shit because
get some wrinkle release.
I love that shit. I just bought 2 more.
I remember going on vacation with you and you whipped that out and I was like, oh, changed my life.
Every time.
Yeah.
I don't travel without it. Yeah, but that is a big thing that like I think with him, because I just talked about his mom, she genuinely she is a fucking caretaker through and through. She loves taking care of people. When we lived with them for like 3 months before we got our house now, she folded my underwear. I didn't even ask her to. She would just take my basket and do my laundry. I remember one of the first times before we lived together, we were just dating. We were upstairs in Cora's room. And he was like, oh, I kind of want grilled cheese. And I was like, dude, grilled cheese and tomato soup? That sounds so good right now. And he was like, I'm going to call my mom. And I was like, dude, you're joking me right now. Do not call your mom. Like, I'm 27. Or I was like 26 at the time.
Were you like naked in his room? Yes. And his mom's downstairs making you grilled cheese and tomato soup?
And she called us when it was done. And I went down and I was like, thank you. She was just she just loves fucking doing that shit. Yeah. So yeah, it was something he had to learn but he did. And I had to do like almost no bitching.
Well, and I think it's important to remember that, again, we've talked about the pendulum thing. This doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing.
Yeah. And also, when we're talking about these people, I don't want anybody to get this like, Shane is toxic. Corey's toxic. Fucking, can we just remember that people are people? And like, goddamn, can we
shit.
Everybody is just trying to learn. So like, if that's what you're thinking right now, fucking stop it. Because I just have a feeling that somebody's going to get something like that. I'm being very vulnerable, and you are as well, with our relationships in our in-laws and our fucking, can we just remember that people are people? And like, you're hearing a very small snippet of things that we're allowing to share. And so let's not make. Well, also, I just have to do that disclaimer because I don't want people to take our families and try to like twist shit because I fucking hate anytime. And we have gotten messages like that anytime we like share things about our spouses or anything like that. And I don't want that to happen with this, because it is something that like, I think there might be a small amount of people that do it to be fucking gross, but there are people that maybe don't know they're doing it.
Oh,
and like
100%.
I think that's just like, if it's happening, have a fucking conversation.
Well, I saw something, someone posted a TikTok and it was actually really funny. And it said something like Gen Z was saying, what did you guys, I'm so anxious. Fuck, I wish I remembered the TikTok. But it was essentially like Gen Z talking about their anxiety and acknowledging when they're having an anxiety attack and what they do to deal with it. And then it went to millennials, and millennials were like, we didn't know what it was called.
No.
Like, no one told us.
No, and we didn't have the internet to fucking figure it out.
I didn't know that what I was going, like, you guys found out that I had anxiety the same time I did. I lived so much, almost 30 years of my life having no idea that I was having panic attacks because no one really talked about it, or if you did bring it up, there was some kind of a concern. It was always just like, nah, you're fine. You're fine. Get over it.
You're being dramatic.
And so, there wasn't a name for it. And a lot of the things that we're talking about now, there wasn't a name for this stuff. We're just coming up with it and being able to figure out, doing some self-reflection, I think is the most important thing, to be like, okay, where in my life do I weaponize my incompetence?
Dude, because it could happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Fucking A. There were things I was reading that was like, God damn, do I do this? Like, especially like in our relationship.
Yeah.
But I know, again, that you're a type of personality that does things a certain way and whatever. And I always have to check myself. Like, if there's any kind of like imbalance, like, is it me? Am I the problem? But truly, it's like, how do you, it is a difficult thing. You don't do it. I think some people don't want to be that way, but it's just like,
and you
not
don't
knowing what
notice until you do the reflection. And I also saw something. Are you guys following this? Is this like even easy to follow? Sometimes I think we're all over the place, and then I watch it back to edit it, and I'm like, no, that made sense.
Yeah, I hope.
But I saw a TikTok where someone was saying, do you get annoyed when I ask you for these things? It was a couple, and he was like, even if you were just up and you get in bed and I'm in bed and you ask me to shut off the light, I think some people could look at that and be like, you weaponized, not necessarily
yell
incompetence.
At me so hard for that.
But this person was like, even if I think that it was something you could have done, you asking me in that moment is you requesting to be loved in a specific way.
Exactly.
And so again, it's almost like splitting hairs. It's like, what am I what's happening right now. And I think the most important thing is to check in with the partner.
Yeah. And we've talked about, I think before, especially with Corey, that his love language is acts of service. Like that is, he loves being taken care of in certain ways and getting whatever. And so I don't think that he weaponizes it so much as like sometimes that's
how he feels love.
Yeah. That literally is, he'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like when I do a fucking something, get him dinner or something.
But as long as you are feeling like you're not being taken advantage of.
And we've had to have those talks.
Yes.
And every time we get somewhere with them, that's why I say the biggest thing in this that I can say is fucking communicate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say the signs.
Okay.
So here are some common phrases you might hear a lot if you, yep. Okay, if this is a conditioned response that you feel you say a lot, don't worry, I'll just do it myself, or it's fine, never mind.
When I had my attitude, that was me.
Yeah. But here's some remarks that you could hear. I have no idea how to do that. I'm not good at doing that. I think you should just do it. Remember last time how bad it was when I did it? You're better at it than me. I'm really busy right now. Could you do it instead? Or I don't know how to do this properly.
Okay, I do that when it comes to like cutting the floor, but I said I would do it the other day,
but
and Shane told me how, and I thought I was going to cut my finger off with the saw. So like I physically am not good at it.
I think this means like if it's a specific task, it's being like a chore that needs a daily like a laundry,
like a repetitive
dishes
type thing.
Yes,
because for me, I also
because again, things with you and I at work, you legitimately know how to edit. You've been working with fucking shit. You are better than me.
Yeah.
That's why you fucking do it.
Yeah.
If I had to, I could learn it. If you needed me to, if your wrists both broke or whatever, the fuck.
If I asked you to and you were like, Jerry, I'm not good at that. I don't know how to do
it. Yeah. But I would,
So, but I was talking to Shane the other day and I was like, hey, I can put this on the wall. But you're probably not going to like how it's done.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing.
If you're not going to like how it's done, then I think maybe you should do it.
And I think
you're
that's
going to care.
Totally valid as well. Because
sometimes I wonder if when we give those examples, I'm like, is that our cognitive dissonance showing?
I don't know. If you're a therapist, let us know.
Analyze this shit.
A therapist or a psychology student, which I meant to message them back, messaged us and said that they watched the live with the Love is Blind. And as a psychologist or therapist, they felt like we really had some good takes and was like, they told me that I have a psych brain and that they hope that I go back into psychology and stuff. And I was like, that actually fucking really that made me want to cry. So I was like, thank you. That was so validating because I was trying as much as I could. And I felt like, am I being too devil's advocate or not taking a side? But then I'm like, you don't have to. That's the whole fucking thing. So yeah, it was really nice. The second thing, this is a big one. If your gut feeling is telling you you're being manipulated, then you're probably being manipulated. So that's listen to your fucking gut when it comes to
we are all animals.
Yes.
And our intuition, we
know. Those instincts. It's reasonable that your partner may not know how to do something. The difference between that and weaponized incompetence is that the latter is behavior that is part of a manipulative pattern, and it's done with the purpose of upholding an unequal and uneven power structure.
And sometimes I wonder
that the patriarchy upholds.
Yes. I was going to say, sometimes I wonder if it's more so an expectation that society and specifically cis men have believed that cis women or the female presenting partner in the relationship, that they are responsible for certain things.
Well, that's because
regardless.
We were back when we also didn't have to work, but now we're working just as much. And we're still expected to do 100% of the house. And I don't mean this as you do, but I'm just saying on a patriarchy level in society, that's still the expectation. Like I was telling Corey the other day, I said something about the house and he's like, oh, who cares? Because a friend was coming over. And I'm like, oh my God, the house. And I'm like, well, you don't care because it's not going to look bad on you. They'll come over and see that it's messy and think, oh, she doesn't know how to keep a house. And that's literally because I've heard that over and over and over and over and over.
Said to me. And I was like, hey, he lives here as well.
Yes.
Like someone in the family would come over and it was right after I had Ollie.
That's the thing,
right
too.
the fuck after I had
have...
Ollie. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh my gosh, talking about how messy my table was. And I want to be like, hey, he's here as well. Yeah. He could do something. Why is this falling on me? And again, that wasn't Shane saying something to me.
No,
but like, it's just proof that it's the expectation.
And so I think subconsciously, a lot of times, because I'll say that to Corey, I'm like, do you even think when people come over that it's like a shameful thing if the house looks a certain way? He's like, I've never thought that. I'm like, exactly. You want to know why? Because nobody's ever said to you anything about the way the house looks.
I wonder, too, if he has ever heard someone or felt the need to tell someone, hey, don't feel the need to pick up. Like, if I'm going to come over, don't worry about cleaning up for me. Like, I don't care if there's stuff out. But I know if I'm going to go over, like...
Oh, I say it constantly.
Yeah, if I'm going to go over to your house or you're going to if you're going to come here, I'm going to be like,
hey... to you and for fucking what?
I know. Like, hey, sorry about the breezeway. Hey, sorry about this. Hey, sorry about these things here. But I don't know that if Shane's friend Ed came over...
that he would even
say that to him.
Yeah. No, probably not.
Or vice versa. Like if Ed would feel the need to say to Shane, like, hey man, don't worry about picking up.
No, because they don't think, like, I don't think they think. And again, I think a lot of it's subconscious. And maybe there are men listening that are like, no, I do. And that's great. I think you're an exception. I don't think you're the rule. Right. That's just
we're still breaking down a lot of stuff that was built up.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're probably of a younger or our generation, because I'm telling you, anybody and our parents and older, they do not fucking think that way. Because anything I've heard about the house and things like that has come from those generations, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Same with like being expected to do, like I was talking to a friend of mine in that generation, I'll say, but they were talking about how for families, birthdays, Christmases, they're expected to go buy the gifts. They're expected to write the cards and all of those things. Like, it has never been fallen on the husband. They work equally.
Right.
And they share that she actually works more sometimes, extra things or thing. Well, I don't know. And, but that expectation has fallen out. Like, she thinks that it's on her if I didn't get so-and-so a card or I didn't get so-and-so a gift and it's going to look bad on me even though it might be a relative of his. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes though, okay, controversial.
Go ahead.
Devil's advocate. Sometimes I wonder as well, in certain situations, if there's weaponized, what's the opposite of incompetence? Superiority?
Yeah, well.
You know what I mean?
No, because in that situation, I know it's weaponized incompetence. But yeah, I think definitely sometimes that might be control issues.
Well, I think that sometimes people like to get the cards and buy the gifts to be able to say that they did it. That they never even asked for help. But they're keeping score to remind you later that they did it.
Oh, that definitely has happened in a relationship or two of mine, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and so like sometimes I think people can look and be like, oh, that we can make these overarching judgments about heterosexual cis, just how relationships are portrayed in society and media. Yeah, it can be toxic both ways in that sense.
Totally, and I think
it's a cyclical cycle of cycles,
and that's what we always talk about.
Is what we always say.
That's what we say. Okay, number 3. This is a big one again. If you feel taken advantage of, big sign that that's what it is. Because again, certain things that Corey do now, I don't feel taken advantage of. When I do the laundry, I know that's my chore. Because guess what? Guess who's not fucking raking those leaves or mowing that lawn? That ain't my shit. And I'm not. And he's never bitched about it because we just are like, hey, I fucking don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that. Great,
right?
Then we'll take this. Yeah. But if you feel like you are being taken advantage of, that's like a huge. If you feel like you're being a maid in your own home, it's a big indicator. You feel alone in your relationship. If your car breaks down or you have a plan, if you plan a birthday party for a family member, take note if you aren't going to your partner for help. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So unexpected stuff comes up all the time, but it's normal to hope and expect that your partner will show up when you need them. If you're doing things on your own constantly, that's a big sign that there's an unfair standard in the relationship.
And I think that goes back to what we were just talking about is why are you not going to your partner?
Yes.
Are you not going to your partner because you have control issues?
Yeah.
or you're an independent human who doesn't need no partner.
Body.
Or is it because you know that they're not going to help you?
Right.
And they don't want to help you.
Mm-hmm. 5, you don't trust your partner. If your partner agrees to carry out the tasks, even though it might be begrudgingly, you may coddle them through the process by over-explaining the steps or providing extremely detailed instructions on your face. Even when they're able to do it, you may expect that you might have to redo it afterwards. This is not me. This is the website.
I don't do that.
Yeah, okay. Your face was like...
No, I think it's just when I hear things like that, my brain almost like goes through a Rolodex, and I try and like think about if I've ever done that, or if
same.
because I also, again, I feel like I would be afraid, because I know that I am a very controlling person, and I do like things done a very particular way. If I, again, would weaponize some kind of like superiority and make someone feel
incompetent?
Yeah, but I would like cause them to have learned helplessness in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like all three of them kind of like are intertwined.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
6, frustration is a common emotion.
Oh,
so continued weaponized incompetence contributes to burnout, distrust, and then you eventually get to resentment.
Yep.
By being okay passing off the obligation, the supposedly incompetent person's this is what I said earlier, is intentionally choosing to hurt their partner. You're pretending to not know how to do something in order to get out of responsibilities, which for some can be seen as similar to lying and cheating, which I think is kind of...
It is lying.
It is definitely lying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's disrespectful of their time, of their energy.
Yeah.
Like, you are disrespecting your partner.
Taking
so that
advantage of them.
You get what you want.
Does that happen?
Yeah.
Like, I think because I know that...
you got to get in these Facebook groups.
I don't want to.
Some of the shit, I'm like, in these women, I feel fucking terrible, because they are always like coming to the internet because they're like, I need to vent. That's always what it is. Please, no judgment. I need to vent, but blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to be like, right? Am I right? You too?
And you're like,
and it's like... honey. And then they get upset, I think, sometimes, because people are like, no, that's not normal. And no, you shouldn't accept that. Like, it sounds like this. And that word kept being brought up a lot.
How fucking difficult would that be to have that conversation with your partner
but
when you're already in a relation that's...
some of these also are abusive.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like some of them, because people will be like, can you talk to them? And they're like, no, there's no even...
Yeah, I can't have that conversation. That makes me sad.
It's horrible.
That's not my experience in my relationship, so I can't ever imagine Shane lying to me to get out of doing something.
Right.
It would definitely be more so like he just doesn't think he's going to do it well enough, and so I have to like reassure him, like, you're fine. I'm not going to go Jerry on you,
micromanage
and critique you the entire time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shocks me almost that is a thing.
Yeah. I definitely feel like it wasn't in my abusive relationship because he was so love bomby. So his was more so he did it to me. If anything, I was weaponizing incompetence, but I felt like I deserved it. No, I'm just kidding. But it was like...
It was earned incompetence.
I earned this dumbassness. But yeah, I definitely have seen... Not firsthand. Well, maybe first. I could think of a couple where I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 7 is the relationship feels stagnant. When weaponized incompetence happens in a relationship, the relationship can feel stuck because one partner is favoring comfort over fulfilling responsibilities. Mm-hmm. So after a while, being together doesn't feel growth oriented. Again, every time I talk about me and Corey, and we've been in these situations, it always comes to a point where there's some kind of an argument, or not even an argument, but just a conversation sometimes. But then there is growth that happens. Then there is improvements. And sometimes it's little, and it's like, okay, am I going to get the real thing eventually? But it just has to be like a steady...
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult. You can't do it all at once. And again, like my personal trainer says, a little is better than nothing. So I think... as long as you're getting some kind of growth, if you're not, and there's no give and take and there's no resolution, then you're in a rut, and that's...
And I also think with something like weaponized incompetence, it's like, if I bring it up in regards to the laundry, we may see growth there, but maybe we haven't talked about the dishes. And so it's that same logic hasn't been applied to the other areas.
Sure.
And it's understandable that they wouldn't just like, copy paste to everything at once, because they may not realize that it's something happening in more than one area, or more, maybe it doesn't happen in more than one area. I don't know. Like I said, I'm truly, truly curious if you are someone who is hearing any of these things and you're like, oh my fuck, this is my partner, or this is in my parents' relationship, or this is my sibling, this is my friend, this is my coworker. Will you share? You don't have to go into detail. If you just even wanted to be like, retweet, that's me. In a comment, I want to know, I guess, if this is helpful.
Yeah, and if it happens.
If it's resonating, yeah.
Okay, it says, you may be focused on improving yourself, but because they're not committed to changing and improving themselves, the relationship suffers, and ultimately, then you're at a point where you're like, what do I do?
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you, because we're going to talk now, last point, on how to deal with it if you think this is you.
Okay.
So hopefully this helps. Number one, they suggest coming up with this isn't even numbered, so we're just going to say they suggest coming up with an action plan to keep both partners accountable and commit to real, actionable change. So actually, this website, and we can link it, it's got a full guide to sharing household work more fairly.
Oh, wow.
And you click that little link and it's going to take you there. So that actually might be a good place to start. Because again, some people, like you said, might have a little bit of, I don't want to give up this control. Yes. And then this person's like, fucking great, because I don't want to do anything. And then you get to one person having burnout over and over again. Yeah. And that's how it goes. And so the Schiff, the psychologist, I think it was, that we were talking about, says open communication and setting boundaries will be key in addressing and dealing with weaponized incompetence in a romantic relationship. Delegation and setting up clear and agreed upon standards will ensure that both partners are taking ownership of specific tasks. God damn, I'm having a hard time talking today. Holy shit. And that responsibilities are balanced and equal. So don't be disheartened if it doesn't feel like you're making a lot of progress at first. That's what I said. Sometimes it might be baby steps, but as long as you're getting a little bit of growth, I think that's you're moving forward.
Yeah.
But if you feel at a point where it's like, I don't even want to fucking go for growth, then I don't want to tell you what to do, but get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was actually going to bring this up because Rachel and Jess, our friends from For Better and Worse podcast, they are friends from real life as well. But anyway, they talked about it on their podcast. Jess and her husband have been reading this book and playing this card game, and it's called Fair Play. And I'm just going to read to you what it is, but it reminded me of what you were talking about divvying up the household chores.
Okay.
And I actually am kind of interested in getting this game. I think it would be really fun for Shane and I to like stimulate more conversation. But it's the Fair Play book.
Fight tonight or what?
The Fair Play book delivers a time and anxiety saving system that offers couples a completely new way to divvy up their domestic responsibilities.
Okay.
It started with the shit I do spreadsheet, a list of all the invisible tasks it takes to run a home, but developed into a gamified system with 4 easy-to-follow rules, 100 household tasks, and a figurative card game you play with your partner. Fair play is a practice, just like riding a bike for the first time. It might feel awkward and you might fall down, but with time, it will come to you second nature. So essentially, like, you are able to go through these cards.
I think that's really cool because I think for some people, me when I first moved out, and again, Corey in my relationship, it's very much like, I don't think we realized how much went into running a household.
100%.
And so when he thinks that he's taking on a fair share, or when he did think he was taking on, he didn't realize. I was like, but I'm doing all the meal planning, grocery shopping, cooking, like all of that was me as well. So yes, you're doing the dishes and the yard work, but do you know how much else? Have you ever cleaned a toilet?
Yeah.
How do you think the shower gets cleaned?
Yes.
The bathtubs, like, do you think this floor mops itself? Things like that I was doing, but I wasn't telling him.
Yes.
And I don't know if he just like was like, oh, when I see that it needs done, I'll do it. But I was
it hasn't needed done because it's been done.
Yes, and it's like, well, I was doing it. So we had to like sit down and I'd be like, do you know how much needs done around here? Because it's a fucking lot.
So if you guys would be interested in watching us play the fair play game with our partners, perhaps for a Valentine's special, let us know.
Oh God,
we could get into it.
That would be interesting.
Because I am interested in it, and I don't know any of the cards. If anyone has that, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah. So I think the biggest takeaway that you can get is, well, number one, make sure that that's actually what you're experiencing. Mm-hmm. Don't accuse your partner. Don't just go fucking guns blazing accusing them of something. Because
I think that's the most important thing to us is when we talk about things like gaslighting, like weaponized incompetence, like cognitive dissonance, like all
I don't want
fallacies.
people to take the small amount we ran and just start being like, you weaponizer. That's what I don't want.
Weaponizer.
If it try to keep going. Sorry. How long till we get it copyrighted? But like if it opens up a conversation, fucking beautiful. That's what mommies want. Okay.
Yes,
what we don't
like
want
that.
is you just going and using it to hurt or accuse or like
label people and make yourself feel better about a situation.
Don't do that.
Yeah. It feels good. It feels good in the moment, but it is incredibly fucking damaging to everyone involved.
It is.
And you're not actually going to see the progress and the growth that you want.
No.
You're just going to continue maintaining the power imbalance.
Yep.
So yeah, we want it to be helpful, but like you said, we just want it to be a dialogue starter.
Yeah. That's that if you take anything from this, that's what I'd love for you.
We'll tell you for free, start a dialogue.
Start a fucking conversation for once in your lives.
Read a book, hippie.
Yeah, I have. And on
I had a friend in college who used to come in and go, take a bath, hippie. And then he'd walk out of the room and I'm like, okay.
I love that. That's a friend I need in my life.
I know.
Do I know who it is?
Mm-hmm. Robin.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
I
hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And to be able to vote on future episodes like this, you can go to patreon.com/ladiesandtangents.
Very true.
And join the fam over there.
Yeah.
We had a 4-hour live the other day.
You can still watch it if you want to. You can watch us try to give some psychology.
React to Love is Blind real time.
Oh my God, literally.
I know.
I said that the other day and Corey was like, you had a 4-hour live? And I was like, I know you didn't realize I didn't come home till like almost 3 in the morning. But that is what I was doing. You were asleep? Sorry. I didn't tell you I was out that late.
Mommy was watching TV.
This is
on
my
the internet.
job.
That's that on Weaponized Incompetence, everyone. We love you so much. Thank you for being here. We will see you next week.
All right.
We're out.
Goodbye.